play its part. Why did he come back? He said, well, I missed fighting, and also I had to pay my taxes. Being very honest about it.
Says he can still be a heavyweight champ. So something inside still keeps telling him, I can do it, I can do it. Those 3 years off, he went to work every day, 7 to 3, punching a time clock.
And he'd rather be punching an opponent. But right now, that quest for a heavyweight championship looks far, 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 far away. David Bay right now trying to get by Joe Hipp, who is ranked 29 by the WBC. Tell me a little bit about Joe Hipp. He certainly shows his punching power. There certainly are there limitations where Joe Hipp will not be able to climb up the rankings, or does he have any kind of potential?
He has a lot of potential. Some things that I see, he's very good in his balance. Obviously, he has the power. But one thing that really worries me about him is that target around his midsection. He should try to work to get that off. More sit-ups, maybe even some more push-outs. Push out away from the table.
So, he has fought as heavy as 246 pounds. So he is trying to get down. At 232 for this one. But that's 232 pounds sitting on just a 6'1" frame.
Good for him, and he's a good-looking fighter at this point.
We had mentioned he lost his second fight via the broken jaw. He has won the 17th straight since. But he had come back to fight Vedi Katoa, the man who broke his jaw back in October of 1987, and in 2 rematches he beat Katoa twice. Once a distance fight, and the second time knocked him out in the 3rd round.
He's only knocked out 3 opponents after the first 3 rounds. So he's real strong. He has a strong start, but then he fades a little bit, which could be a good opportunity for David Bay. See what happens after 3.
Bay surviving the second, and that may have been the key.
And Bay has been rocked these first 2 rounds.
But he will now get through 3 rounds.
No punches, good job.
And once David Bay felt the power of Joe Hipp early, his strategy, Sean, was get through the early rounds.
For the old-time professionals, the fight starts after 3. Now, noticing him in the early part of this fight, he was not breaking a sweat. He was not loosened up. He sure got loosened up in the first 3 because Hipp nailed him. And he is loosened up here. Now, this is where the work begins.
Hipp has fought 19 times. He's gone beyond the 3rd round, only 8 occasions.
But the problem for David Bay now is going to be getting into this fight. Now, usually by the 3rd round, the tempo of the fight, the mode has been set, and they usually go 10 if they get past the first 3. It takes an explosion to get your opponent out of there. But when you have the power that a Joe Hipp has, that can happen.
I would think Joe Hipp would move right up inside on Bay, where he has been effective, but takes pride. He says, hey, I don't look like a fighter, but I'm faster than you think. He's stepping back and looking to explode into Bay with that left hook.
And he has got wonderful concentration. Look at his eyes. He's thinking about what he's going to do. He's setting up a fight plan. That is something that the amateurs really help fighters to get.
Oh, best punch by Bay.
And Bay said he knew how to fight left-handed fighters. He said you throw the straight right and come back with a left hook. That's the first one we've seen from him, though. He's been throwing the uppercuts, but not the straight rights. The last thing a fighter loses is his punch, so Hipp must be careful.
Steve Murph, the 3rd man in the ring. Once again, time permitting, we'll take a look at another one of the heavyweights on the card tonight. Up and coming Louis Savarese, who's won all 17 of his fights, 15 by knockout, and 14 of those 15 have come within the first 2 rounds. We're in the 4th round here of a scheduled 10-rounder.
We've talked about the experience of David Bay. Joe Hipp has had some experience himself. He was introduced to boxing at the age of 10. Now 27, that's 17 years in the fight game. His father took him to the gym in Seattle. Father Ben Hipp introduced him to boxing. He was 95 pounds then.
Right. First fight.
A few weeks ago. Said he boxed in every weight class in the amateurs. Not at once.
Well, we're shortchanged a little bit there. Lucef Reese happy about it. Figuring if this fight ends, the earlier it ends, he'll make air.
We got to do it. You got to start punching. All right, you're making a miss, but you're not making a pay for it. All right, let's go right hand, left hook. One out, left hook, straight right hook. Okay?
Okay.
Fifth round action of the schedule 10. And David Bay on his toes for the fifth round.
And between rounds, you heard him say, throw the straight right hand. Left-handed fighters are suspect for that. Straight right hand and a left hook. That left hook, you can get them from the blind side if you can nail them with that. But they are difficult to fight.
This is Joe Hipp's 19th professional fight. Consider the fact that David Bay, in his 15th pro fight, was fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. He had come off the 12-round victory over Greg Page to win the USBA heavyweight crown, and then stepped in the ring against Larry Holmes. Gave Holmes a pretty good fight early before the champ stopped Bay in the 10th. And that was the shining moment of the career of David Bay.
And that fight kind of took the wind out of his sails. He grew tired of boxing, tired of the press. Since that time, he's been 3-7, stopped 5 times.
With the 3 years off from '87 to February of last year.
And I tell you, when you get those 3 years off and you see a lot of these big fights on television, you still think, wow, I can still do it. However, most people remember themselves as they were at their very best. They forget that